Greetings! Today we are looking at upcoming new and fun things in the world of watercolors. Starting right away with a new Kuretake product. The first mention of this set was in this video by Coloring Bliss. It is another set of 5 granulating colors, very similar to the first set they released. Kuretake has had a different approach to granulating colors with what I would describe as a stronger focus on the effects themselves. There's no pigment info for these, and they are quite reactive to UV light, which would imply that they are not light fast. They are also part of the Gansai Tambi range, so they come in larger pans and they're not quite the formula that we are used to seeing in more Western watercolor paints. This new set, like the first one, also comes with 5 colors and 1 empty pan for mixes. I'm still on the fence about the sets having only 5 colors instead of their usual 6 colors, as they do in their other sets. On one hand, it feels a bit like we are being cheated, since the price is about the same or higher when compared to the 6 color sets. On the other hand, the extra pan is handy to have if one wants to work with the way these paints separate to their full extent. You can really get them to split into 2 colors, and you can work them this way on a limited color palette painting. I'm curious to see the new colors because I feel like these are somewhat different, but also I'm in no rush since they are pricey and they take some time before they are readily available here. Next new thing I want to talk about is this new color from DaVinci. They regularly come out with original new colors and I love it. This one, Sage and Amber, is particularly noteworthy in my opinion. This is a fairly original mix. I don't think I've seen anything similar before. It looks like a color that has an orange undertone and a green granulation throughout. It is a mix of 4 pigments. We have PW36, Pigment Blue 36, which DaVinci has on its own in 3 variants: Cobalt Turquoise Deep, and Cerulean Blue Genuine. I'm guessing one of these makes it into the mix. Then we have PG7, which is named Phthalo Green within the DaVinci range. It's our old friend Phthalo Green Blue shade. Third pigment is our orange, Benzimida Orange, PO62. That's where the undertone comes from, slightly muted down with the addition of the PG7 in the mix. And finally, fourth color is Titanium White, PW6. My knee-jerk reaction is to wonder why this was added in the mix and if it was really necessary. Watercolors are awesome as transparent colors. Why add opaque white in a mix? That sounds like it would not need it. I would love to see this color without the white added in, just to see what difference it makes in this mix. This little disappointment aside, the color looks awesome and I'm excited to see painted swatches of it. And I'm eager to try it myself, eventually. Now, I want to get into a bunch of Schmincke related little things. Starting with the most whimsical of them, possibly. They have teased, or perhaps released at this point, a lot of little accessories. They range from cute and somewhat useless to pretty and useful to plain useful. They have a really cute owl plush toy based on their mascot. Mind you, this toy is made by Steiff, not sure how to say that, which is a really well-known and fancy brand. So I would expect this one to be more of an expensive collector item than a toy. They also have a metal owl keychain that comes with a velvet pouch, so I'm guessing that it's also meant more as a collector item. Keychains get banged up by definition, so having a velvet pouch for it seems to go against that purpose. And I doubt people would keep the pouch on the keychain if they were using it as a keychain. It's just my impression anyway. Then we have 2 items that I'd qualify as pretty and useful. There's a brass clip and a ceramic brush rest shaped and painted like a watercolor tube. I use a similar brass clip often to hold sketchbooks open, and I can vouch that this kind of item is really useful. The brush rest is neat, it's a really cute idea, and I like that they went with the Cobalt Turquoise label for this one. Just about anything can be used as a brush rest, but this one is thematic and fun. The last 2 merch items are plain useful ones. We have a tube wrench, which is basically a nutcracker. They even say it can be used for that in the description. Any tool to help open up stuck tubes is a finger saver. I use Golden's gripper tool, and I can vouch that such a tool is mandatory if you deal with paint tubes. I don't know why, but trying to force open a tube that is stuck with just your fingers is so painful. And the last item is a Schmincke branded apron, which is another tool that is sort of mandatory in an art studio. Paint stains happen, tubes explode, brushes fall down and splatter. So yeah, a good apron is super useful. I can't say from the photo if this is an adjustable one or not, but hopefully it is. A non-adjustable apron is not that great. Still Schmincke, but the next thing I have on my list is this little set of neon colors. We saw the same colors as 5 milliliters tubes a few years ago. It seems like the company has decided to re-release these colors as half pan in a little metal tin with empty pans for 3 more colors. These neon colors are within their Academy watercolor range, and it's worth noting that the little tin has the Schmincke logo embossed on the lid. I've swatched the tube versions of these colors and I don't really see a need to get these specific pans, but I like that they made them available again. I'm not a fan of when things are just a limited edition and then they're gone forever. I have another Schmincke set that I want to talk about. This one kind of looks like a beefed up version of their previous water tank palette, which was tiny. The small one has about the same surface area than you would get from those small bijou style palettes, but it had a bit more height to accommodate a small water tank. This larger palette with a water tank is similar but much larger. It has space for 12 colors instead of the 8 colors that come with the smaller version. I would say though that the main area of improvement with this larger palette is the mixing space. I've seen this model of palettes in a couple of layouts and the interior flap is kind of useless because you can't really make any large paint mixes on it. It doesn't have wells and the corners are open. There's nothing to prevent the paint from running off the corners. So you can use this flap for very small mixes. The main lid, however, is quite nice and it has 4 wells for mixing colors. Now these wells usually end up being for 1 color each because of the way they are made. The color tends to pool at the bottom, so you can't really have more than 1 mix per well, but it's still an improvement over the lid of the small bijou palettes. These palettes are usually made from heavy, strong metal and they look good. I'm not fully sold on the design personally. I have a few issues with them that I've mentioned already, but also I find that the half pans end up being quite low in them and they're partly covered up by the hinges on one side and the bar holding them in place on the other side. So that makes it hard to get any sizable brush in the pan. The color selection for this set is interesting. I appreciate that they did not go with their standard lineup of 12 colors. I'm not sure this palette is for me, but I would still love to hear impressions from people who have tried it out. Now, this is the last Schmincke thing I want to mention quickly. I talked about this little palette in a previous news video, but I still haven't seen it anywhere. So I was wondering if any of you had found it, and if so, what was your take on this palette? I'm really loving the idea of this fully rust-proof palette. It's completely made of plastic. It has the tray, but plastic. So I'm really curious about it, but I haven't had the chance of trying it myself. I haven't seen it anywhere. So I want to know if it's good. If you have tried it, please let me know. How was it? And from Schmincke, we are moving to RosaGallery news. They have not released any new colors, but they've put together 2 sets, 1 pans, 1 tubes, featuring their granulating colors. The sets include both single pigment granulating paints and mixed paints that are also granulating. From the photos, it seems to be a really fun selection of paints, and I like that they put together these 2 palettes. Now we are going into new colors. Beampaints has also released new colors not long ago. I just saw these. They are super nice and I love that there's a PG50. I love a good cobalt teal and this one seems to be so nice. I'm so happy to see it available from this paint maker. There's also a few new shimmery paints in this little release and a new gold paint that looks to be extra sparkly. So we get 2 regular watercolors, Topaz Lake and Grasshopper, 3 shimmery paints, Rose Gold, Green Gold and Lake Superior, and 1 gold color, Fairy Tale Gold. Staying on the theme of new paints and sparkly paints, Coliro has a few new colors in their pearl color range that I hadn't seen before. These seem to be really interesting because they have a chunkier glitter component. And with these, the base color and the glitter seem to be 2 different colors. So I think you can get some really interesting effect from these specific shimmery paints. Also, these are a lot of fun to just stare at. As always, sparkly paints are not the easiest to use in paintings, but they are always so much fun just to look at. They make watching paint dry a lot of fun. Moving on to 2 articles from Golden's Just Paint publication that I thought were particularly interesting. The first one features the 13 colors core released in 2024, mixed in with 3 selected colors, a magenta, a yellow, and a blue. I really enjoyed seeing the resulting mixes and also looking at all the gorgeous core colors. These colors are so vibrant and strong. I'm only hoping that they release ultramarine turquoise on its own at some point, but so many pretty colors. The second article is a super interesting read about fluorescent and phosphorescent pigments and paints. And I thought that was particularly relevant because we see a lot of neon dyes added into paints here and there, and this is kind of on topic with that. It talks about light fastness, it talks about the process and all that, so I felt it was interesting enough to include in here. Just Paint, in general, always has great articles about all things paint related. And finally, last item for this episode, we have a tiny bit of cat news. I saw this article about cats and boxes, and I wanted to share it with you guys. I thought it was super interesting, and I love learning new things about one of my favorite things in the world. That's it for this installment of the watercolor news, findings, and cat news videos. Thank you so much for watching, and feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. I love when we have discussions about all this stuff. That's a big part of why I like to make these videos. I love being able to talk paint stuff with like-minded friends. I hope you have a great day, and see ya all in the next video. Take care, bye bye.